to chase away any gloom. For Spirit, sweet Spirit, is in this very room.
That was lovely, Dina. Thank you so much. What a beautiful way to start our service. Today's daily word is about inner peace, and the affirmation is peace grows with me as I remain centered in God. Inner peace, the peace of God that my words can only begin to describe, does not depend on outer circumstances. Peace does not come from any external source. It rises from within me. At a place in consciousness, sometimes called the center of my being, peace, like all the qualities of God, waits for me in recognition until I claim it. I claim inner peace when I remember the truth that God's presence is always with me and within me. As I center my awareness in the divine presence within, peace soothes my feelings and restores order to my thoughts. I move through all circumstances with calm assurance. Peace grows within me as I remain centered in God. Every event of my day contributes to the calm peace of my soul. Those of steadfast mind you keep in peace because they trust in you. And that was from Isaiah 26. Peace, the peace of God fills my being, a peace that fills my soul and opens my heart to receive, to perceive the greater good that God is in my life and in the world around me. My peace flowing through me flows into the entire world, bringing light and love and healing. And we are so blessed in expressing God's peace right here, right now. Amen. Dina?
Yes, I have a congregational song here. I'll give you the lyrics. There's the lyrics. This is a Robert Anderson song. The lyrics are in the chat box. Not in that key, though. Let me change the key. That key. There we go. This song, if you don't know it already, this song is very easy to catch on to, so I'm not going to teach it ahead of time. I'm just going to start into the song, and you can just join in when you feel you've got it. I am as God created me. I am a light in this world. I am as God created me. I am as God created me. You are as God created you. You are a light in this world. You are as God created you. You are, you are, you are, you are as God created you. You are a light in this world. You are as God created you. You are, you are, you are. We are as God created us. We are a light in this world. We are as God created us. We are, we are, we are. We are as God created us. We are a light in this world. We are as God created us. We are, we are, we are. I am as God created me. I am a light in this world. I am as God created me. I am, I am, I am.
Thank you, Dina. It was lovely. Now's the time in our service when we light the candle, which symbolizes the Christ light always shining within us. The Christ lights our way, guides us, teaches us the path of truth, of wholeness, and oneness. The light shining in and through us lights not only our paths, but the path of the entire world. For this, we are so very grateful. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. Dina, I have Nancy doing a reading next. Are
Okay.
you playing before her or after her?
Whichever you choose, Nancy and Jim.
Jim, which would you prefer?
Dina, why don't you sing now, and then Nancy will
Okay.
You got it.
do her readings.
All right. Very good. So this is a song, I've never known whether to pronounce this songwriter's first name as Jay or Jai, but this is Jai Joseph's or Jay Joseph's I Love Myself the Way I Am. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing that needs to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful. I'm capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love you just the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage, your tears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I've judged I've done by people just like me. So till the birth of peace on earth that only love can bring, I'll help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. But change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful, I'm capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love myself just the way I am.
Thank you, Dina. That was wonderful. And now we have Nancy for reading and then the message.
Thank you, Claudia. Jim's lesson this morning is a plan for wholeness. And this is something that he wrote for this morning, this afternoon. There are more prayers for healing than for any other human challenge. For thousands of years, we have prayed for healing for our loved ones and ourselves. Most of us think of the healing of the body, but the source of healing is wholeness. We are as God created us, and nothing of the earth, no illness, no doctor's diagnosis, can change or alter God's creation. The great physician cares for us. Our essence is life itself. In it, there is no disease. We are expressions of this life. We are divine life being lived. And so let us listen to receive the guidance of the great physician. Medical doctors create a treatment plan for us when the body is ill. However, our Creator, the great physician, is always at work in us. If you have a healing need today, there is a divine plan for wholeness for you. Out of this consciousness swiftly, so that once again you can let your light shine with love and joy. And these are some words about wholeness from Maya Angelou. You don't need another person, place, or thing to make you whole. God already did that. Your job is to know it. From John Kabat-Zinn, you are whole and also part of larger and larger circles of wholeness you may not even know about. You are never alone, and you already belong. You belong to humanity. You belong to life. You belong to this moment, this breath. From Rumi, the wound is the place where the light enters you. From Phyllis McGinley, the one thing I am certain, the body is not the measure of healing. Peace is the measure. Christiane Northrup, the body creates health daily. It is inherently self-healing. And finally, once again, from John Kabat-Zinn, perhaps the most spiritual thing any of us can do is simply to look through our own eyes, see with eyes of wholeness, and act with integrity and kindness.
Thank you, Nancy. Before I share a plan for wholeness with you, as a citizen of the United States and as a Navy veteran who flew over 100 combat missions over North Vietnam, I would be remiss if I did not say a few words about Memorial Day. This is a time when we hold in our hearts those who have died in service of our country. And there's always a controversy that revolves around war and conflict. War must always be debatable. But for those who have made a commitment to our country and its quest for a more perfect union, they are never debatable. We are in awe of them. And we likewise hold in our hearts the spouses, the children, the family, the friends, the fellow combatants in arms of those that we now memorialize. We can only imagine their sense of loss. May they feel the peace that passes understanding. And may the day come when we are a people who banish from our vocabulary forever the word war. Well, I want to share a lesson with you entitled A Plan for Wholeness. And as we have been coming through this pandemic, I think we can all acknowledge the challenge of illness, of its discomfort, its pain, and even the death that sometimes comes. And I want to help. And I want us to help one another. Can you imagine the power of a united consciousness of wholeness? A group of people, you and me, that will go forth from our time together today, and we will hold a vision of wholeness for ourselves and our family and friends and for the world. This is not a lesson about healing, but I think healing will take place. If healing takes place, it will be because we are whole, because of that vision of wholeness. So I want to tell you about a friend, someone I met a number of years ago, and her body had stage 4 colon cancer, a very serious thing. And so she and I gathered together and we talked, and we actually created what I'm going to share with you, this plan for wholeness. We created it together, and then she put it into action. And thinking about this lesson coming up and us moving through this pandemic, I was thinking, what a better time to share the plan for wholeness, because it's powerful. I've seen it with my friend, because my friend now has put that cancer behind her, and she has moved forward. She's doing just wonderfully now. And when I made a comment about this on Facebook just this last week, I had a message from her just saying that when she read that, it sort of brought back memories, it brought tears to her eyes as she moved through that experience. So here's the scenario: that discomfort, something's not quite right. And we go to the doctor, and there's just a whole series of tests that we experience and go through. And then we sit down with the doctor and we find out that something is quite serious is taking place. And so what do? What's the first step? Well, the first step is to feel what is ever to be felt. If it's fear of the future, or it's some doubt, or it's a sadness that comes upon us, or a thought of perhaps unrealized goals that were before, whatever it is, we just let ourselves feel them. And then we get started on the plan for wholeness. So I want to share this plan with you that my friend went through. It actually has 7 parts to it. And I thought what I would do after our service, probably it'll be tomorrow, various steps. And I know some of you have joined from a class that I recently taught, and I send out a message periodically to you all, and I thought I could put these steps on there for you as well. So you can take notes if you like, but some of these ideas will be coming to you as well. So step number 1. Step number one of the great physician. The physician that is actually life itself, that you are one with this life that God is. You have a doctor, the doctor has a treatment plan for you, but you're under the care of the great physician. And so it behooves you to find out what the treatment plan is that the great physician has for you. So you have a medical doctor has a plan of action for you. And that could include surgery or medicine, or therapy has a plan for you too. And so that means some quietness and stillness to realize whatever that treatment plan happens to be. And it might be, it might be that there's surgery that lies ahead, or following exactly what the doctor says, or it may be that a lifestyle change is in order for you. You may have to change the way you're eating, or maybe it's forgiveness, that there's something that's been holding you back, something that's disrupting the system. But Spirit will reveal those things to you. And then it's important that you actually follow the treatment plan outlined by the great physician. Because there must be this unity of the great physician, of you and the body, all working together. So that's the first step. You're under the care of the great physician. Find out what that treatment plan is and make sure that you follow it. The second step is live each day to the fullest. Life is a gift. It's filled with opportunities for growth. Every day is filled with them. And you want to embrace that. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I was a minister of Unity Temple in the Plaza in downtown Kansas City. And I met a woman, her name was Rosalie, and we had counseled together. And she had some regrets in her life. She was estranged from her teenage daughter. And she had not spoken to her for quite some time. And so these regrets were very much up for her. And so we talked about these things. And then some time followed, and Rosalie found herself in the hospital, and it was very serious. And so I went to visit her, and we talked about her condition. And eventually I said to her, we don't know how long you're going to be on this earth, whether it's a day or weeks or months or even years. We don't know. But what's most important is that we be true to why we are here on this earth. And I said to her, I think the reason we're here is to love one another. And so why don't you, Rosalie, make a commitment going forward from this day to commit yourself to bucket. And I took out some of these. See if you can see these. These are tiny red hearts. I had a whole, let's see, I can get this up high enough so you can see them. I had a whole handful of those in my pocket. They come from a little slip of paper like this. Nancy and I made these 250,000 at a time for a total of 1.5 million that we passed out. I gave those, I put them on that little table that you have in the hospital where they set your food. I put them on the table and I said to Rosalie, why don't you do this? Why not every time someone comes into your room, be it a doctor, a nurse, an orderly, or it's a friend that's visiting, why don't you give that person a tiny red heart? She said she would. I left, and not so many days afterwards, Rosalie died. And I officiated for her at her service. And I shared with the people that were there what I have been sharing with you and about these tiny red hearts. And I said to folks, now take note of this, that here is someone that had a number of regrets in her life, but in the last days of her life, she was true to why she's on the planet, which was love. After the service, someone came up to me, because what we had done is we had sat in the rear of the sanctuary, the chapel where the service was held. There was this crystal bowl and was just filled with these tiny red hearts. And I suggested to everyone that as they left, they would take a handful of those hearts and they would continue what Rosalie had begun. And a woman came up to me afterwards and she said, I was a nurse for Rosalie. And she gave me one of those tiny red hearts. So you want to live each day to the fullest. Life is lived in this capsule of time that we call now. And sometimes if we look to the future with a certain sense of dread or concern, it disconnects us from the great physician. Or if we look back at the regrets, it might disrupt the natural work of the immune system. And so what we need to do is moment by moment, we find ourselves in the midst of a moment and that we are truly free. And so we have these two first steps. You see them now? I'm under the care of the great physician. There's a treatment plan for me that will be revealed from within. I must follow it. The second is to go ahead and live each day to the fullest. And now, number 3, begin each day with gratitude. And I have suggested to people, make a list of 100 things for which you are grateful. And sometimes people will balk and say, Jim, I come up with a few things, but 100 things? And the reason I always say 100 things is because I want people to get on a roll of gratitude and thanksgiving, where it's just this thing, that thing, the other thing. I mean, I can list for you 25 things for which I am a stop sign for the orderly flow of traffic that it promotes. I'm grateful for the crew and the individuals that put that stop sign in the ground. I am grateful for the individuals that painted the colors on that stop sign. I'm grateful for the individual that used that great machine that stamped out the shape, that octagon of the stop sign. I am grateful for those that were in the smelter that actually took care of the ore so that the aluminum would come forth. I am grateful for those that have mined the aluminum from the ground. And I am grateful for the star that went supernova, that in its death throes, in the heat that was generated, that it actually created the element of aluminum. You hear what I'm saying? We can get on a roll. That's just a few things around a stop sign. And there are so many things for us to be grateful for. Remember the 100th Psalm? Enter into God's gates with praise and thanksgiving. The ancients, they had this image of God as this walled city, and it was hard to get in. And so they were looking, how do you get in there? What are the gates? And from long ago, they discovered the gate was praise and thanksgiving. And so how important it is for us to begin each day. How important it is for each day for us to live our lives with gratitude. So here we have 3 steps so far. We have 1, we're under the care of the great physician, live each life to the fullest. And the third one is begin each day with gratitude. And the 4th is the power of the word. To speak the truth, examples such as these. And Dina, wonderful, beautiful voice. She's singing something. I am an expression of the perfect life that God is. No earthly thing can change the truth of my being. And so we speak the truth, the power of the word, words such as those, and then it is imperative for the response that comes from within, because that's where the real power is. It's not so much just in what we spoke, but what we speak, but what it evokes from within us. That's what's important. And it is equally important that we do not form a bond or identify with whatever the illness or disease might be that is our challenge. Because people will sometimes say things like, my heart attack or my cancer. How do we ever shed something when we identify with it. This body has had a heart attack, but I didn't have one. The body had one. And I think of it in those terms as well. And so it's important that we use the power of the word in that way. Something else, before any procedure, you might just want to talk to your body about that, so the body knows what's coming. For some of you, I have donated a kidney to a man named Carl. The day before the operation, Carl and I met, and we talked about what we had been doing. And I had been talking to my body. I had this realization, came from Myrtle Fillmore. We'll talk more about her in a little bit. And I had this realization. I am an intelligent being. There's an intelligence obviously taking place within my body, within the very cells of my body, within the kidney for sure. And so the premise was we can communicate. And so I spoke to my kidney and told it it would be leaving my body, continue to be of service to humanity. And lo and behold, Carl told me that he'd been talking to his body, saying to it that there would be this strange kidney, this kidney that had not been there before was going to be placed within to help him live that life of service. And so when the day of the operation took place and the kidney was placed in Carl and all the plumbing was fixed up and all plumbed, and what they found was it started working immediately, which is pretty unusual. Usually what happens, it takes 24, 48 hours before a transplanted kidney will start to work, but not this one. It knew what it was there to do, so it got started immediately. And so we can tell the body what's taking place to prepare the way. And by all means, don't identify with the disease or illness. It's not the truth of our being. That's the power of the word. And the fifth step is power of imagination. To use our imagination to pave the way for any difficult task that is before when it comes to therapy, physical therapy. For those of you that have been through that, I've been through it before. Some of the greatest pain you'll ever experience is going through the physical therapy to get you back to where you're fully functional again. But what you can do when you have that, whether it's learning to walk again or whatever the challenge happens to be, you can use your imagination to see yourself doing that thing or that movement before it is even done. So it begins, and we know this, as within, so without. It begins within us, and then we step forward. And power of imagination, as you know, it can be used in so many different ways. You have some difficult meeting before in front of you, and you can see yourself in the meeting with. Now these various steps, first one being remember that you're under the care of the great physician and live each day to the fullest. Begin each day with gratitude, power of the word, power of imagination, and now power of action, of living a life. Here's the key. Always do for yourself what you can do. Send no premature message to your body of what it cannot do. There may come a time when you need a walker or you need the assistance of someone. That's okay. But don't do that prematurely. If you can do a thing, do it. Don't send any message of weakness. And then step number 7, which is follow in Myrtle Fillmore's footsteps. Many of you know that Myrtle Fillmore was the co-founder or is co-founder of Unity. And many, many years ago, her body had tuberculosis. And she was only given about 6 months to live. And Charles Fillmore, her husband, she and Myrtle and he, excuse me, lecture of a Dr. E.B. Weeks. And in that lecture, Dr. Weeks said, you're a child of God, therefore you do not inherit sickness. And so a identity shift began to take place in Myrtle from just her physical body to the essence of spirit, of wholeness, we would say. And then this idea came to her. This was the treatment of the great physician. And it was what I said earlier. She was an intelligent being. There was an intelligence within the cells of her body, and they could communicate. Because what Myrtle had been doing for years was thinking of herself as weak and sickly. And so her first step was profound. It was that she was going to apologize to the cells of her body for thinking of them and speaking of them as weak and sickly. That was the first step. And that force that she knew that was within her. And as you know the story, it certainly came forth. And so I have to believe that that idea of speaking to the cells of the body is a part of any treatment plan of the great physician. So do you see these various steps of the plan, excuse me, of the plan of wholeness? Here's a sheet here. And I thought that this would be the one that I would ultimately post on Facebook and send to some of you that were part of a recent class. But let's just summarize these various step high points for you. You're under the care of the great physician. It's a point of realization, but it's backed up by action as you do whatever that treatment is that comes from within. Live each day to the fullest. Begin each day with thanksgiving and gratitude. The power of the word, the power of it, and follow in the footsteps of Myrtle Fillmore. And so if we were all together in one room, and boy, I long for the day when that will happen, I would now have you turn to one another and say, you are as God created you. You are whole. You are an expression of the life that God is. That is the truth of your being. And so those are the words that I speak to you until we can all be together as one. So dear friend, what we want to do is take a few moments now, but what it is that comes from within. And so I'd like us to just share an experience of meditation together. And Dina, if you would just kind of play beneath the words and the experience that we will have together. So dear friends, just close your eyes and take a deep breath. And remember, I'm under the care of the great physician. The truth of my being is pure life, the life that God is. No earthly thing can change the way in which I am made. The very essence of my being. And so I breathe into these truths. Make a commitment to live each day to the fullest. The future has no allure here. The past, no power over me. There is this moment, a gift to be lived here. Peace is here. In this moment that I fill with gratitude thanksgiving. Give thanks for every circumstance, even the challenge. Where challenges can bring me to a plan for wholeness, to discoveries, the things I have never known before. What a gift I've been given. Power of the word. Speak the highest truth I know. And surely that time is coming for all of us. Power of the word, power of imagination, another gift of God to pave the way for all the steps that I would take for me to remember who I am. The power of the word, power to hold in mind, power of life and living and action. To remember that life is within me. I can speak to it. It can speak to me. It is a great mystery. And yet there can be that sense of oneness, wisdom expressed. Words such as these, they lift me up to be still, wait and listen and trust. For grace is coming to lift me higher. So I rest now in the silence, in peace, trusting, letting God be God in the silence. Silence, not the absence of sound, but the presence of God. Filled with the ever-expanding consciousness that God is, doing its sacred work. And truly, all is well. My spirit overflows with gratitude. Thank you, dear friend. And now just take a deep breath. And let that breath bring you back to this moment where you are with friends. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Jim. Deanne, I think you have another song for us.
Yep, I'm going to put the lyrics in the chat box and bring back my video.
Okay. Text messages.
Okay, lyrics are in the chat box. This is a Ricky Byers song, Radiant Light of God. I can take care of the verses. I know you can take care of the refrain. Refrain sounds like this. Are we in the right key? Yes. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of love. And it's basically that tune for all these lines of what you're a radiant light of. Blah, 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 blah. So super easy. Here we are. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of love. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of peace. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of beauty. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of love. When I look in your eyes, I see God's light guiding you on your way, guiding you on your way. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of love. You are a radiant light of God. You shine the light of peace. I am a radiant light of God. I shine the light of beauty. You are a radiant light of God. You shine the light of love. With conviction so sound, we know that now is the time to shine. Now is the time to shine. We are a radiant light of God. We shine the light of love. We are a radiant light of God. We shine the light of peace. We are a radiant light of God. We shine the light of beauty. We are a radiant light of God. We shine the light of love.
Thanks, Dina. That's great. Now's the time in our service when we celebrate the abundance of good flowing in and through us, through each individual, through each group gathered together, and through this ministry, Unity of Blairsville. We celebrate, we work together, and together we grow. And your support keeps us going. And we have a link in the chat for Unity of Blairsville, our website, where you can donate. You can also donate through PayPal. And keeping in mind the abundance of God available to each one of us, we affirm together divine love flowing through us, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give and all that I receive, and it returns to us blessed and multiplied. Thank you, God. And so it is. Before we do our peace song, I want to let you know that this week on Wednesday, we have our noon gathering of community conversation, coffee community conversation. Listing is on Facebook, it's in our newsletter and on our website. Then on Friday, we're getting together face to face at Abide Coffee at 10:30 a.m. in Blairsville. And next Sunday, Reverend John Strickland will be speaking here from my house in Blairsville. So any who want to join together are more than welcome to do so. And now it's time for our peace song. So we can't hold hands, but we can be heart to heart together. Amen.
Lyrics are in the chat box. Oops, not in that key though. It's a little high. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as the one source, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
What a joy to sing that song again, even if we can't hold hands. We are together. And let us affirm the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God unfolds us. The power of God is over us. And the presence of God, I did that backwards. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God unfolds. The presence of God protects us, and the light. Okay, I give up. I flunked that test. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Yeah, okay. Now, Gail, we should have stopped the recording sooner.